I grew up like with my dad in the mortgage business. I thought I will never go into the mortgage business. That sounds like the most boring career. I could never see myself doing that. I really didn't know anything about it. And then like 6 months after I'm out of college, I'm in the mortgage business working for Wells. Yeah.
How did you intern or anything, or you just went straight into it?
I went into Wells Fargo Financial. It was like a subprime arm of Wells.
Gotcha.
And they did subprime refinances, high interest rate credit cards. And
really good place to, it's a really good place to start. I mean, because you're dealing with customers that, kind of like customers that we deal with now, that they don't have an option, but they need money. And so to help them out, even if it's high interest, it was still a good way to cut your teeth into the business. So very interesting. I actually worked subprime for what they called it non-prime for a little bit with, in between there at some point.
Well, you've always been somebody who's been a really good leader. Like I can remember back at our Wells days, you were an area manager. You had to have been on the younger scale, like end of
I think I was
scale.
The youngest. Yeah, I was weird.
The youngest? Yeah.
I'm not the youngest in the room anymore, but back then I was definitely the youngest in the room.
Yeah. So you've always had that innate ability. Like I can remember you go into some of those area meetings and just the way you can command a room. I think it's a real gift.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So now you're kind of a similar role now at Loan Depot, right? Things have evolved to where you've got a network of branches.
Yeah. So I went over from once I left Wells, I didn't know what I was going to do because, let's be clear, Wells left me, right? I didn't leave Wells. So I got fired from Wells for being the last one in and the first one out, laid off, whatever you want to call it. And I had to reinvent who I was in the marketplace because I realized I didn't really know a lot of people in the market. I didn't know the market, right? I worked the market. I didn't know the market. And it's not like when I left Wells, there was like 1 million people trying to follow me. I had to figure out how was I going to survive because it was either like you have Chase you can go to, or you can go to, Bank of America. Everybody was kind of hurting at that point if you were a bank.
Yeah.
But I started walking into... I was funding, I want to say like $1 billion at the time. And I was walking around with my numbers and going basically to different non-bank lenders saying, would you hire me? And they were all like, well, how much will you do? Or how many people can you bring with you? And I was like, it's just me. And so they were like closing the door on my face. Like they were not interested in me. And so I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I mean, I knew I'd be okay. And, I'd made a lot of money at Wells. So it wasn't like I was hurting for money. I just wanted to make the right decision. And so what I did is I had somebody that I knew at Wells send me the list of everybody who left Wells over the last year and like loan officers. And so I started looking them up and I started saying, well, like you had left and you were I can't remember where you went to the first time, but I was looking at everybody who left. So I started making calls
that's smart.
to those people because I was like, how do you like it? Because what I realized is everybody had made a bounce. So they got to the first company, didn't know the right questions asked. So then they bounced to the next company. So I called all them and started building networks. And I got like 3 guys that were like, wherever you go, I'm going with you because this place sucks, right? So I finally found a company that was willing to bet on me. And I built like 4 branches out the gates pretty quickly, like within the first year. And then that company sucked. And I was like, their operations was bad. TRID was happening. And so they didn't really know how to handle that. So I went from like maybe closing 70% of our deals on time to nothing. So I finally figured out, I through my research, I found out about Loan Depot had bought iMortgage and that they were going to do this thing. So I decided to bet on them because they were local. Everything was happening locally. So I was like, if I have a problem, I can just walk into corporate and get something done.
Yeah.
That was big for me at the time. I don't care now, but at the time it was big. So, but when I left, everybody followed. And then I was like, okay, well, that's my value proposition. Like people are actually, there's some value that I'm able to give to them that they're actually following me. And then that's when it kind of just, started to evolve into what I'm doing now. Started with a branch. Then I expanded out to Phoenix, got a second branch, expanded out to Vegas, got a third, and all from like social networking, meeting people. I knew this guy, he was doing social. Why aren't you working for us? Then just started kind of culminating. And then I ended up with like 4 branches. And then so I think the company was like, well, we got to make him an area manager if we want him to keep, growing. So they made me an area manager. And then at the end of this year, I was the highest in profitability. We were the most like profitable to the entire company from a funding perspective. And so they gave me a few more territories. So now I have Hawaii, Wyoming, Utah, Arizona, Nevada as my territory. So now then they promoted me to a regional.